Hey, brother sewing and crafting family. Angela Whoop here with another fabulous show for you today. I'll give you a hint. Let's see. I'm not very good at that though. Like gobble gobble. Actually, I don't know how to call turkeys. They're in my backyard, but I don't know. I know what they look like. I know what they sound like. And do you know where they sleep? That's the question of the day, because that one might surprise some people. But we are doing a lot of DIY projects today. You're going to love it. I've got Barb and Kathy joining. So pop in, say hi, say where you're from. And guess what? It's the end of the week. You know what that means? The studio and yours is probably trashed from sewing all week. But we don't care. We don't clean till Saturday, right? All right, let's bring the ladies in. How are you? Welcome, Kathy, Barb. So great to see you.
Good seeing you.
It's so great to be back. Thank you so much for letting us be here and see all your people.
We're snagging you from traveling to come and join the show. So I have to tell you, for the last quite a few months, in the comments, everyone's like, oh, where are all of our favorite educators, which is all the educators. And I said, they'll be back. They'll be back. They're traveling now. So we're so excited we can squeeze you in here. And on the last episode on Tuesday, we had Kim and Tina for the launch of this. And Esther said, this reminds me of the COVID days. I go, the positive part of the COVID days.
Right?
When we did live shows all the time. Well, we are so excited. And all right, so I'm just going to give everyone a warning. I got to preview what they're working on. So you better grab a cup of tea, a paper and pen. And I would recommend, if you're on YouTube, share this or save it to watch later so you can watch the entire show. And then you can go back and follow along for the steps. If you're on Facebook, share it to your page, share it with friends. You are not going to want to miss this one. All right, so I see the whole brother fans are rolling in. Yes, everyone loves this show. So which one of you would like to go first? You want me to flip a coin?
I'll go first.
Okay, so I gave a hint about the gobble gobble, but I'm asking in the comments, do any of you know where turkeys sleep? Do you know?
Somebody said trees.
Yeah. What are you going to say, Kathy?
I'm going to say trees because we have wild turkey around here, and I believe they do sleep in the trees.
I never knew that until all of a sudden one evening, sitting out by the fire pit, and all of a sudden I'm like, "What is that?" My husband goes, "The turkeys are going to bed." I'm like, "They're all like they're the messiest flyers ever." There's feathers flying. You know, of course, Mike treated mine singing. I should go peck up the feathers. No. Well, you take it away, Kathy, because you've got some of the cutest turkeys I've ever seen.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of walk you through how I created this placemat. The little turkey right here was created in my design center, and he has a secret message behind him. So these are the placemats that are going to be for the children's table because I think they'll get a big kick out of it. But I want to go through my whole process, and it is a whole complete place setting. They all will have napkins with embroidery on it and a napkin ring that was also created in my design center. So to start out, what I did was I quilted a piece of fabric, and using the edge to edge that's built into the luminaire. So when I'm quilting something that has no borders, do you see how I've marked my fabric with a line? That way, that gives me a reference mark to go by because I don't have the borders that are around. So on my machine, I will show you when I get there exactly how I can measure and put in my measurements for the edge-to-edge quilting design that I'm going to do. Then I'm going to show you how I created the little turkey body. And speaking of turkey bodies, there are several that I have made, and this is the body that gets attached at the end after I have put the word or the hidden message behind his feathers. And for that, the projection is just to die for. because that's the way to get it perfectly placed. So let me switch over to my machine camera, and we'll start out with the edge to edge, and then I'll go in and walk through the steps of creating the turkey.
That sounds good. Barb, is that the cutest turkey you've ever seen?
Adorable.
They
So
are
we will-
adorable. I asked Kathy if she made about 8 of them and I could buy them, because I don't know if I'm going to have time before Thanksgiving to be able to make all those, but this is brilliant.
Well,
All right,
so
we
up,
can
up on the screen now, you can see these are all my files that I have saved. There were several different ones that I had tried that did not work really well. But I'm going to cancel out of this and go home. I'm going into embroidery, and for my edge to edge quilting, it's this subcategory 4. I chose the leaf design, and then you set it. So what I did was I measured the width of my fabric piece after I had drawn those lines. And we're just going to say that it was, I don't know, we'll put in 40 inches wide and set it. And I'm going to say that it was 38 inches long and set it. And now I have to tell the machine, what hoop am I going to use? Well, the first one I started using my 10 5/8 by 16, because I'm thinking to myself, the bigger the hoop that I use, the faster it will get done. Well, sometimes that's not always the best option. So after the first trial, I decided I'm going to use one of my magnetic hoops. So I just scrolled over till I got to my 7 by 12 new magnetic hoop. So now it's going to calculate the size of the pieces. And if you'll notice right here on the screen, it tells you that it's 7 pieces, 4 rows, and how big each piece is going to be. And watch how that changes as I change the size of the hoop. Can you see how that changes? Still 7 pieces, but now it's only 3 rows, and the pieces are now 12 1/4 inches tall. But we're going to go back, and I have a flip option. So I can leave them every one going the same direction. I can mirror image every other one. I can mirror and flip, or I can mirror and flip again. This is the option that I chose, and you say, okay. And once you've got that done, all you have to do is press next, and it's going to tell you the total number of pieces is 28. My measurements are 40 inches wide by 38 inches long. I have a choice of a single run or a triple run. And down here where the color is at, I would suggest using a color that is pretty dark if you have light fabric, and pretty light if you have dark fabric. So I had light fabric, so I just chose a dark blue, so that when that's projecting and I'm trying to align everything, then it is much easier for me to see. So at this point, now that I have everything set, I can save that to the memory of the machine. And there it is, my design that I created. And once I select it, now I have additional choices. So I can either use the full one that has 28 pieces, or if I wanted to use each individual piece and place them manually, I could. But I'm thinking to myself, why would I want to do that? Because the machine's going to help me place them perfectly. So I'm just going to select the one that has 28 pieces. And once I set it, then the machine is going to walk me through step by step on how to hoop my fabric and also how to proceed to the next step. So once I say okay, it tells me that the first alignment mark would be in the upper left-hand corner. So had I had a border on my fabric, I would have lined it where the body of my quilt and the border corner was at before I would proceed to the next step. It won't let me do it because I don't have a hoop in the machine. And that's just for technical reasons due to camera angles and stuff. But that's how you're going to get started with your edge to edge quilting. And like I said, that was my first step. I created the fabric, then I subcut it. So I'm going to go back home. Whoops. And go back into my design center. So to create the turkeys, and I did this kind of in a step-by-step fashion, or sort of a layering fashion, I could say. So I went into my shapes and I grabbed a circle, and in sizing, I can size it down. And I don't remember exactly the size. We may go a little bigger just for purposes of being able to see better on the screen. Said, okay, now I am going to duplicate that circle and I'm going to make one that's a little bit smaller, center it and go up. So that is basically the turkey's body shape, but I need to get rid of those extra lines in the middle. So you have the eraser function, and you can choose either a circle or square, and you can start erasing. Whoops. You have an undo, which is helpful, so that if you make a mistake, you can always get back. What I had to do was I had to enlarge it so that I could see a little bit better. So I went through and I got rid of all of these extra lines as best I could at 200%. And then I think I went to 800% so that I could see those lines a little bit better. And I got rid of all of the excess. And this is something that I wanted to point out. I've seen this many times. People don't know that you can use these scroll buttons along the side. They grab the scroll button on the side, doesn't want to grab. But you can use those scroll buttons as well as the hand to pan around. But once you get rid of all of those lines, then you can go back to your 100%. And now is the point where you need to set what type of line type. So as a review, this pack of tools right at the top is where I set the type of line. And I just basically want a running stitch. So we'll make his body green for right now, and I'll fill that line in. So think of this. This was my placement stitch. So I've set that and gone all the way to embroidery. Now I want to add, but what I should have done, and I didn't do it here, but I did whenever I was working on the real thing, was I saved that same shape to memory in my design center, because that way that gave me the exact size that I needed to go back to. So when I go back into my design center, I'm just going to pull out of the pocket one of the shapes that I had already saved. It probably is not the exact same size as the one I just created, but now I have the option to change it. So I brought it in as a, more or less as a backdrop so that I could create the face. And the face is nothing more than a triangle that's sized way down. To where it's kind of like the beak. And I just filled it in after I rotated it. So I filled it in with a fill stitch, and we'll fill it with an orange. Whoops. Nope, I got the body. Undo is your best friend, and now I need to get a little bit better. And now I want to select just the beak and move it into place. So at the bottom, you have your different ways to select it. I can just draw a box around it and just select that element. My favorite is the magic wand. So I just touch it and select it. And now I'm going to touch size just so that I can remove or move that back into place. Now I have to get the outline. Move that around as well. So again, like I said, it was just a matter of building this piece by piece. Again, the eyes were just teeny tiny circles that I think I sized to about 1/4 of an inch. So we'll kind of move those into place. And then again, I'm going to use my duplicate key. Move this other eye into place. I'm going to fill those in. And then for the little wattle part, up here in your line tools, you can draw as an open shape, a closed shape, a straight line, or point to point. I just use the open shape and chose a red. And I drew like kind of a squiggle and then selected that with my magic wand and drug that into place. So if we go to next, you can kind of see let's enlarge it. So that little, the wattle did not turn out as cute as the one that I did on my particular turkeys. It took me several tries. This has been sort of a trial and error type thing. I know that a lot of you have always get a project in your mind, and it just takes a while sometimes to figure out exactly how you're going to do it. But that is basically the turkey face.
I love it. I love it. So Barb and I are sitting here. I'm watching Barb and I'm cracking up. I'm like, waddle, waddle.
Waddle, waddle.
So cute.
So how I create turkey box. What I did with is I went into the line attributes. I said no sew, and I touched the turkey outline so that it wouldn't sew. So that the only thing that I have left is just the turkey face that it's going to create. So do you see? Just have the face now.
Yep, we can see it.
And then that got to my turkey body. And then I have the little decorative stitch. So I went back into my design center. I grabbed out of the pocket where I had saved the guy. And this time I chose to use the candle wicking stitch. And I always make everything a separate color. And now you can use the candle wicking stitch a little bit further out. And then I made them a little smaller. You can see the candle wicking stitch around his body. And you set it. And there's your turkey. So the other thing that was for the little napkin ring holder, again, was created in my design center. If I haven't mentioned this before, my design center is kind of like my playground. So I chose shape 15. I hit that too many times. And I sized that as well. Oh, I want to make it skinnier. And again, I combined a couple of shapes. I think I did a circle, sized it down, erased the middle lines in there, and then I just made it a running stitch. Actually, I made it a satin stitch. So let's, oops, I forget to touch my bucket. There we go. So imagine that I those extra lines, and that's once I got that set, that where I went in and added from my built-in fonts and just chose something cute. And I think I needed, so there we go. And then you just put snaps, ends, and that's how you connect them.
That's so cute. Kathy, I noticed that has a W on it. Any plans for that one?
It is for my Wyatt, not your win.
Or your wolf.
Or your wolf. That is such an easy project. And that's something that you could make a whole bunch of them. And like the whole family could be finished in one moment.
You could. And so what I wanted that, like I said, it's a secret message behind. What I did was I brought in that outline shape whenever I was meant for that. And then I projected the lettering onto my placemat. And I was able to just do the lettering. I use the array feature to get the arc of the letters. One says thankful, one says grateful. I have 3 grandchildren. I'm thankful for the first. I'm grateful that we didn't get a duplicate of the second one because he is a spunky guy. And I am blessed that I got. So that's what we're going. So
That is So cute. So hold that up one more time, just slowly. Everybody's looking at that. They also want to see the napkin ring again. Absolutely gorgeous. What a cute idea.
So I wanted to point out, do you notice the brick for the feathers? That was printed on my print studio.
Oh, print Moda. That's like the most, I've had a little problem with that the last couple weeks because all I do is play with that. If I find a photo, like I'll probably take a photo of my shirt today and print another piece. It's so addicting, but that's how you got the leaves to be that cute color.
That is exactly how his feathers got to be cute color. This first one is actually feathers. This
Oh,
line there is actually fall leaves. And those were purchased digital designs that digital scrapbookers use. And I know what you mean about the addictiveness of the print Moda studio fabric.
oh yeah.
It is, I mean, it's just pretty. Like here's a that is just there's of the feather fabric.
Oh, it's so cute.
Isn't
So
that
cute. So on the fabric, by the way, I know sometimes people are putting a vinyl covering. You just have that, you just press that and have it flat. There's nothing on it.
Right. I didn't put
Beautiful.
anything on it mainly because I want to test what it will look like if I want the edges to fray once it's washed just a little bit. But
Oh, good idea.
it is 2 layers of fabric. I did use a double-sided fusible and fused just cotton quilting fabric to my Moda fabric.
Very cute. So Kathy, bring that napkin thing up one more time. I'm just going to have you center it into the camera because we only saw part of it. Miss Marine says the W's for Waddle. So there. Oh, and you have an A? What the heck's going on?
Well, I haven't quiet.
Adorable. Adorable.
So there's the 2 napkins. But the thing with in the design that I wanted to point out too is you don't have to use a full design because our machines have this wonderful no-sew feature that are built in. That was a purchase design. I'll come back to forward-facing camera.
Okay.
I'm talking to an empty room. So the design had some scrolls and stuff around it, and it was one that I had purchased, but I only wanted that little tiny pumpkin. So on my machine, I can bring the design in and go to no sew, select the colors that I don't want, and then all I'm left with was the little pumpkin. And it worked out perfect. It was the perfect size. I didn't have to do any resizing. It was a quick stitch out. So it just made the perfect thing. And if you can see, it's got a beautiful rolled hem that was done on my Airflow 3000 serger, which I absolutely love.
Which, by the way, you are one of the stars in the masterclass for that. You and the other Kathy Gandy, and myself. You guys do the most beautiful rolled hems. Did you do a 2-thread or a 3-thread rolled hem on that one?
That was a 3-thread rolled hem.
Beautiful. Beautiful. You've got a couple questions. They just want to know, did you use a scan and cut to cut those leaves out?
I used the scan and cut to cut the turkey feathers out. This was an applique design that I had purchased that had turkey feathers. So all I did was, because it was an applique, I was able to wirelessly transfer it to my scan and cut and just cut that shape out.
Nice.
But I didn't want to use it as an applique. So that's one of the things that I tell people all the time. Just think outside the box a little bit. You may have something that would work. I tried taking what is that, one of those little kids protractor things and making a circle. And then I was trying to trace like a nickel and a quarter and a dime to see about getting my feathers. And then I ended up looking through my embroidery designs that I've collected over the years, and I had the perfect one for the turkey feather shape that I was going for. So it
So
worked.
cute. Patricia wants to know, does the napkin go behind the turkey?
No, the napkin is just going to go off to the side. I guess you could put it behind the turkey. Let's see.
Especially if you left a hole in the bottom it could go through.
No, I could put a buttonhole in there, I guess, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, but that's
So
go.
So cute. Lori wants to know, it's probably not a brother product, but you never know. I'll ask anyways. Fusible, you said you put fusible. Was it fusible interfacing or fusible embroidery stabilizer?
It was just a double-sided fusible web.
All right, perfect.
Product. But if you do an internet search, you should be able to find some. And like I said, this was one of my ones that, did not.
I don't mind that one. You said you didn't like that one at first. I think it's cute.
I do too.
I didn't particularly care for this one with these leaves because, for one, this is sort of a open weave, like burlap type fabric, and it was just making a mess and getting everywhere. So I didn't think that it would withstand the kids playing with it as much.
It kind of looks like the turkey in a tree.
Yeah. The turkey. So.
Oh, so we all got to learn a little bit about turkeys today. So there's more, though. There's more, because Barb has got a fabulous project for you as well. You get a 2 for project today. Actually, you had 3 projects, so we're up to 4 now.
Okay, I made a table runner, but what I did for all of you is it came directly out of the XP3 and the Scan and Cut. So you have everything you need to do what I did. So here is a sneak peek of the table runner.
Oh.
So it's got lots of colors and embroidery and Scan and Cut leaves, and mine is really big because my table's really long, but I will walk you through how I did that. So I start with a sketch, just because when I'm creating, I never know where I'm going to go. You guys have watched me before, you know that's true, but I'm showing you where I wound up and how I did it. So I take some graph paper and I sketch out what I think I want. So I knew I wanted the center to be about 8 inches, and you can decide how long you want yours to be according to your table size. Mine is narrow and very long. So then I wanted to do a border by just piecing fall colored fabrics together. And I started marking it every 2 inches, and I didn't like that. It looked too busy. So then I wound up doing 3-inch wide pieces. So first of all of this came from my stash also. So I just started grabbing fabrics that were fall colors out of my stash. We all have them. And then you're going to pick the ones you want. I typically take a picture, and I can see some things better in a picture than I can live, because there's so much more in your live view that's not what you're concentrating on. I think that's why. But anyway, I can see ones that just don't work, or too bright or too dull or whatever. So once I get them all pulled out of my stash, and I didn't buy anything for this, I laid out my pieces. So I've got the 2 long pieces here, and I've got the shorter pieces here, just because I want to plan. I don't plan much, but I want to plan for how they're going to lay out. And so then I have my pieces that I'm going to use for my border. So I lay them all out, take a picture, like I said, decide what I want, and then cut my border pieces. I cut them 3.5 inches. So I had 1/4 inch on each side for the seams and 3 inches. And then I cut them about 6 inches long. I figured I wouldn't use that much, like I would only maybe use 2 or 3 inches, but I wasn't sure. And I wanted to leave extra for hooping when I did the edge to edge. So that's why I just left extra. And it's all scrap anyway, just saying. So I laid out all 4 sides, and then I set that aside and I stabilized my center. How big is my center? Well, it's 8 inches, however long you want, and then leaving room for your seams. But I used a piece of fabric, and I was so thrilled with this fabric when I found it. I did go buy this because it looks like burlap. So Kathy had burlap. I have cotton that looks like burlap, and I just thought it was the perfect look for this fall thing. And that's kind of why I like your turkey burlaps.
That does look like burlap, but probably a little easier to sew.
Right, a lot easier, and doesn't make the mess that our burlap did. So anyway, I stabilized it, making it plenty wide so I can hoop on both sides of my 8 inches. And then after it's stabilized, I used an iron-on adhesive on the back. In fact, it is on the back of this. You can see that. That is the Brother cutaway adhesive. So I used that, and then I took it to my work table and I drew my 8 inches and my lines and my sides, so I know what area I want to be putting my letters into. So here's a picture of, you can see where I drew the lines. I also drew words about where I wanted them to go. So it's just, they're approximate. And I did them in all different directions. So no matter where you're sitting at the table, you can read some words that face you, which I thought was fun. So you're drawing your 8 inches and you're drawing your words. Pick whatever words you want. You know, I like to do things that nobody else has. So yours will be original also, because your length is different, your width is different, your fabrics are different, your words are different. All of that becomes an original piece. So you add your words in the approximate area and angles that you want, and then you hoop what you have. So I'm going to switch over here to the camera on the machine and show you how I did the letters.
While you're switching that, everyone is saying this is so cute. Great ideas. Oh, it does look like burlap.
It does. Totally looks like burlap. So that's really cool. Okay, so I have my hoop on my machine now, and I'm going to show you, whoops, that's what I was practicing. That's later. I will show you how I did the lettering. So for the first one, I did gather. Here you can see where I did that. And then the second one that also fits in this hoop is the thankful. I'm going to show you how I did those. Gather, I used different fonts for all of them. I sized them all differently. I just had fun, and that's what you're supposed to do. T-H-E-R. I have to think when I'm spelling. So there's my gather. I'm going to set my gather. Now, how do I place my gather where I want it to go? You've got lots of options. You've got projectors. You've got all kinds of stuff. I just use the simple old-fashioned background scan. So that's the camera with the piece of fabric underneath it, that and scan. And it's going to scan what's in my hoop, because that way I can place not only my gather, but I can place my thankful. And every time I hoop, I can place multiple pieces. I'm using the largest hoop. Like Kathy, why wouldn't I use the largest hoop? Okay, so now I have my gather. Here's where I wrote gather. So I need to move it down. I'm going to rotate it, obviously. This is so much fun because, okay, if I go 90 and come back a few, there we go. Now I want to make it bigger, so I'm going to size it. I no need to do the magic button because it automatically redigitizes your lettering and your shapes in the machine always. So now, see, there's my gather. I can move that over a little bit where I think I want it, and I can fuss as much as I want, but I'm happy with that. So I put that in first and set it because now it's in place and it's not going to act like two things. I'm going to add the word thankful. And for thankful, I think I use this font. And again, I'm just going to spell out thankful. A-N-K-F-U-L. Okay, so there's my thankful. And I'm going to set my thankful. Now look, I already did my background scan. There's where I want thankful. When I wrote it, I didn't write it very big, so I arrowed. I want this to stretch all the way across. So I'm going to edit this. We're going to I can move it up a little bit using the rotate keys, or I can just touch and drag. And the thing I like about the XP is when you go to rotate, you can just touch and hold till you get it where you want it. Too far. Okay, and then I know I want to stretch it out. I already said that. So we're going to go to size and stretch it this way. I want it pretty much go from edge to edge. And then I'm going to move it up until I'm happy with it. I think I need to rotate that just one more. Again, you just approximated where you wanted this to go. No, actually, I don't. I like that better. And we're all visual, so that's why I love to do it like this, because I can see what I'm doing. Now, I also like to see what colors look good on this fabric. So I go to my paint palette, and it's automatically going to go to the first color of the first word. If I touch this icon right here with the 3 spools of thread and then pick my color, it will change the entire word at one time, which is so much easier than each letter. Now I'm going to pick the first word of thankful. That's still active. I did a bright yellow, and there I have my gather and my thankful. So here you go. Gather and thankful. And then after you stitch that, you rehoop and you repeat. Does that make sense?
So easy, so cute.
I know. So you get all of your, I'm going to switch back again, get all of your letters stitched out, all your words, and you can do any words you want. And then you're going to I cut the center, 8.5 by whatever your length is, leaving a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch on each side to do your seams. So I did cut it out, and then I set it aside because I don't think did we piece the border yet? Did I tell you that? At some point, piece that border together and have 2 long sides and 2 short sides laid separate. When you're ready, you can sew those on to the center after you've cut the center. And I sewed the long sides on first so that the short sides would be a little longer, just a little better balance. So then you sew all of those together. And then you're going to leave the excess inches on that border for the hooping. Now, before we sandwich, we're going to go to Scan and Cut, and we're going to find our leaves. So let me switch over to Scan and Cut camera. And of course, it went to sleep because I took
Of course. But while you're there, I see some questions rolling in. We'll take those at the end too. But Charlene just has a good one real quick. When you marked your fabric, which everybody's saying that's absolutely brilliant to design that, did you use a wash away pen, an air what is it? Air erasable, which erases in 24 hours, which gets scary if you're making a big project? Or did you use chalk? What'd you use?
I used a heat release. I could go to my iron and just erase it with my iron.
Press it away. Perfect. Okay. We can see your Scan and Cut just great. Thanks,
Awesome.
Barb.
So I told you everything you need is built into the machine. So here we go. Under pattern, under the tree, I'm looking for leaves. That makes sense. There with the flowers. That makes sense. One page down, and I see a bunch of leaves, and another page down, I see another bunch of leaves. There are 10 perfect leaves for this. So I'm going to grab a ginkgo to start with. They're pretty big, though. I don't need them to be almost 4 inches big, so more like 3 inches. And again, I just kind of randomly size these. They're leaves. They're all different. I'm going to say okay, and I have a ginkgo leaf on my design page. So I say okay, and I'm going to set that, and I'm going to add another leaf. And it's under the patterns built into Scan and Cut. And again, patterns, tree, flowers, page down, and you can pick any leaves you want. They'll go with a maple. I also need to size that down. Whatever you want. It's not that, there's no rhyme or reason. You just do whatever you like. If your table runner is smaller, you might make them smaller. So I set this and I have 2 leaves on my design page. I don't know if you can see those. Okay, we're going to go out of here and I'm going to show you what I wound up doing. Cancel, okay. So in retrieve data, I have in the machine saved what I did. So here's 1 leaf. Then I wanted 3 of each of, I think I picked 6 different leaves. And I decided, nope, that's not going to work because I don't want all of the trees leaves to be the same color. So then I rearranged it so that I could put 6 pieces of fabric on my mat and cut out all different colors of my leaves. And that's how I did it. Then I would cut, and yes, I did prepare fabric to cut, and I do use a backing because I like to iron down my pieces and know that they're exactly where I want them to be. Okay, so then after I cut them out, sorry, I'm taking you for just a little ride because I want to show you something fun. I'm going to take the negatives of what I already cut out, and I'm going to put a shape around the negatives and put some of those on napkins.
Oh, great idea.
And why not? Okay, let's get back to the front so I can talk to you about the next step. And here we go.
And there's more. There's more.
So then you go and you iron on your leaves wherever you want to iron them on. So in some cases, I actually have the leaves going onto the borders. So like this guy comes down to the border here. You know, a couple of them went off onto the borders. Some did not. It's all about where you want to place them. And because I did the lettering kind of all over the place, I could place, you know, leaves in between the lettering, and I thought it worked out great. So next step, you've got your whole piece, your top is done, you've got your border on, you make your sandwich. Okay, then you're going to hoop your sandwich. Make sure you leave plenty of backing and batting to hoop so you can do the edge to edge. So now we're going to switch over to the machine again, and I'll show you how. It's a different edge to edge than Kathy did, which is
Everyone's saying, great project, great project. It's so beautiful. I just had to share that while you're moving. There
it's
you go.
all in your machines. You can do this. And I know you have a stash of fabrics just like I do and everybody else does. All right. So we're over here now. We got to get rid of this. You know that once you do a scan, you have to either stitch it or erase it. You're going to like delete it. So I'm going to delete that from the background so we don't see it. And I am going to go in here and say, you can do any of the 10 edge to edge patterns. Kathy did the leaves. I was going to suggest if you want to do one of the built-in edge to edge, you would do the leaves. However, I decided to do something different. So I created my own pattern. Okay.
Ooh.
This is clip art. I'm not an artist. I cannot draw a stick figure decently. Okay. So I traced things from free clip art and I put it on a sheet of paper. I took a picture of it. I sent it to my machine via my Snap app, and it goes into the design center. I did that because rather than scanning it on the board, because it's a clearer image. Your camera in your phone is better than the camera in the machine. That's all I can say. Okay. So I'm going to go into my design center and you're going to say, okay, that's nice. I would grab it out. I have it saved in the pocket as you saw before. So there it is. Now, how do I know where it's going on my table runner? Because you can scan under here as an image. So we're going to scan as an image, say, okay. So it's going to scan. And of course, that's pretend like it's actually stitched now. What's in my hoop? And then I can place my, what I call edge to edge on the top of what's in my hoop. All right. So I did show you these because it takes a minute to scan these leaves that I do place cards on. That's a hit, and that's like every year. Last year, I also did these placemats where I had the kids. I think some of you remember this. tell me what their favorite things were, and then each one of them got one that had their favorite things on it. And of course, these.
Oh, I remember that from last year. In fact, yet on Tuesday's live show, we were talking about cool things for Thanksgiving, and I was like, I think it was Barb, but I can't remember. It was you. That's such a brilliant idea.
Well, and you can cut those out on your Scan and Cut, or you can get them at the, dollar store. Just saying. Okay, so now back on my screen, there is, you can't see my burlap, quote burlap, until I change the coloration. I can either bring my design forward or I can bring my fabric forward. So now I can see where my fabric is and I can see where my design is going to go. There's my gather, there's my thankful. And I actually did stitch this over my lettering because I didn't care. You can't really, it doesn't take away from the stitching of the lettering, I don't think. So, and you don't want to do the lettering after you have your sandwich together. Okay, so then you go ahead and stitch. I let it stitch outside my 8 inches because I'm going to cut it. I don't care. It's a leaf. Part of it's there, part of it's not. If you want to do it so it all fits in, you can do that by sizing it or erasing it or whatever you want. So then I'm going back because, like Kathy, I don't want to talk to, I don't want you to see just an empty camera. Then you go back, and after the first one is stitched, you rehoop. And when you rehoop, you leave some of the leaves in there so you can see where it's stitched to. Then you bring your pattern in, and if it overlaps, you can erase like Kathy did, or you can move your design so that it fits better, and you wind up with an edge to edge. I don't do them laying the same way, so it's not a repeated pattern. I will reverse it, or I'll even go this way, so you don't have any repeats. And that's how I did it. So let's go to show you the whole thing.
So beautiful.
Gobble, gather, thankful. Then Happy Thanksgiving is in the middle of it. And the other side goes down. It's got family. Oh, I think grateful's on this side. Give thanks. And just the leaves and all the colors. I'm very happy with it. And I think it's going to be an awesome table centerpiece.
Absolutely beautiful. Everybody's like, absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Someone had asked, when you brought in those leaves, you brought them into my design center, correct?
No, good question. I did not bring them back from Scan and Cut to let the machine stitch around them. I just did the edge to edge over them, and it's good enough. I didn't want to accentuate the edges of the leaves as much, so it's only stitched down with whatever the edge to edge did.
Oh, perfect. So then that brings me to another question that came up here. They wanted to know, you mentioned you put a backing on there. Could you just talk a little bit about what that backing was to be able to press that in place?
So for the center that I'm stitching the lettering on, I did the Brother adhesive cutaway, and I just ironed it on, and I left it there, which gives it a little bit of, structure. So when you get out, it's that too.
Oh. All right, let me see. Everybody's saying absolutely gorgeous project. I know, and guess what? This is early enough that we can all do it for Thanksgiving.
This is a project you can all do if you have the XP, and you also, if you have the Scan and Cut, you can do it exactly like this. You can maybe stretch yourself a little bit and go ahead and try your own design, or you can use an edge to edge.
Cindy wants to know, Barb, did you change to a double stitch, or how did you stitch your custom stippling?
Just a running stitch.
Just a running stitch. It looks beautiful.
Simple enough that we can all do it.
Oh, so exciting. All right, I think, Kathy, you're muted just so you know in case you say anything. Do any of you have any last minute questions for these two ladies? This has been so informative. Using the Luminaire, using the Scan and Cut, but also some of the things on my design center that we've used. My design center has been around for a while, so a lot of that I know we have a lot of people here that have the Stillaire, the Dream Machine, all of those. So some of this you can still do on there as well.
And there's some leaves in the design center too.
There
Oh,
are.
that's right. I forgot about those. Everyone's saying so informative. Dolly wants to know, did you put heat batting in it, or what kind of batting did you use? She wants to know, are you going to put anything hot on it? Is that what you want to know, Dolly?
So I did not use like Insulbright. I just used regular, I don't know if I can say the brand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bright is not Brother product, but you all know what that is. It keeps your stuff hot or cold. We just use it for the grocery bag, guys, remember? Or you could just use regular batting. Everyone's saying so creative. Oh, so by the way, everyone wants to know where to find the burlap fabric. Well, a few people mentioned in the comments, since it's not a Brother product, go to one of the big box stores and you'll probably find it there. Does that help? Sounds like no, I'm just kidding. So somebody was asking about that leaf. Do you still have that leaf next to you, Barb, that you did last time or last year on the live shows where you had put all those names? That episode, I do not recall what number it is, but if you guys go back to Brother Sews, their YouTube live shows, scroll back, it might be titled with Barb. These are so cute. So you put names and phrases. Really easy to do.
Whatever they, put down as their favorite things that they were thankful for. So
Yeah, you're welcome, Dolly. You're welcome. Everybody's saying thank you. I've learned so much. That was the big lesson today with a lot of great tips. Oh, awesome. Amanda's making her grocery bag. I still have to make a few more for Christmas. So anyways, we still have a few more weeks to make this. And I'm also thinking of even through the whole holidays, because we have a couple birthday parties coming up. We do a big thing for Christmas. All of those, I don't know if the turkey would fit into that, but the napkin with the name, with the letters would be perfect.
And the table, you can do that too. Just change your colors of fabric and change your words and change whatever you're using on Scan and Cut.
I'm thinking table runner that matches the placemat, right, Kathy?
Well, I have this table topper here that is yet to be quilted.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
So that's going in with, it fits in my theme and part of the fabrics and stuff like that, but I'm going to do the quilting a little bit differently in that I'm going to use a custom fill.
Oh, fun. Are you going to I hope you come on and show us that, because a lot of people have asked about custom fills. Well, kind of like what you just showed, Barb.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a fantastic show. Everyone's saying thank you, thank you. So Esther, you were late today, but I mentioned your name because yesterday you said this reminds you of the COVID days. And I said, as long as it was the good COVID days, because we had a lot of fun hanging out every day together.
We did.
Sitting in our jammies, sewing away. But now the educators are busy traveling, so we are honored to have them on the show. Thank you, ladies, for taking so much time. And Barb, by the way, I don't know if you know this, because there's a few people in the chat that are going on that cruise with us in February with a Brother dealer. There's only 2 spots left, 2 spots. So if any of you want info on that, you can message me and I'll fill you in.
I wish I had my project here for my class. I could give them a sneak peek, but I don't know where it is.
You already have yours? I'm still working on mine. What are you doing?
It's a block. It's an 8-inch block, and it's a cruise ship, and there's a Scan and Cut with So Happy Cruise or something. I forget. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Mine is a bag, like a tote bag to carry all the stuff in as you go shopping when you leave the ship, but one that will fit into your bag.
Fun, girls.
All right, super fun. I hear the music's going off. It means our show is over. I knew Barb would have that rolling.
Sorry.
Everyone, thank you so much for being here today. It has been such a pleasure hanging out and sewing with you. Kathy and Barb, thank you. And Brother, as always, we love it when you let us take over your page. And thank you for the great machines to play with. Otherwise, we would have nothing to teach, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
we're so grateful to be back. Thank you so much, Angela.
All right. Everyone else, I will see you on Tuesday. I think Tuesday. I don't know the schedule next week yet, but I know who's coming in on Thursday. Until next time, have a great weekend. Happy sewing, and talk to you all soon.